Don't say anything bad about people.
I'm not terribly familiar with it, but apparently they are a syndicated marketing firm that mainly does marketing for all sorts of sporting teams, from college teams to professional teams, and not only basketball, and other sports too. Marketing. They do their marketing. Yeah, they do. And they get paid for it. Yes, I think, yeah.
Where do they hear for that, Alex?
I don't know why it's not. I can't mess with it now.
Just send it to Renee, and he's been practicing a lot longer. And he's a good kid. So the first grip hurts. And just knit.
Good evening and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Lovely spring day out there and a lovely spring evening in here as we come to the conclusion of our Passover festival. Our opening song cannot be found in your prayer books, but I think you'll pick up the words pretty quickly. Ilu hotzi hotzi anu mi mitzrayim hotzi anu mi mitzrayim dayenu 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 And with that, we open our prayer books to pages 2 and 3. And welcome to Shabbat, the lighting of the candles. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlikner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat. We continue on page 6. We enter the sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls, we sit surrounded by numberless generations, and more about that a little later. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured, a beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Now we, in our turn, come into this sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace brightness which inspires sacred liberty.
For
For Shabbat memories glowing in the darkness. For Shabbat peace, born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing of God. On the next page. Hine matovu manani, shevetachim gam yachad. Hine matovu manani, shevetachim gam yachad. Hine mato, shevetachim gam yachad. Hine mato, shevetachim gam yachad. Hine mato manani, shevetachim gam yachad. Hine mato manani, shevetachim gam yachad. Hine mato, yalla la 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 la. Hine mato, yalla la 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 la. Hine mato manani, yalla la la la, yalla la la la. Hine mato manani, shevetachim gam yachad. We continue on the next page, 12. L'churin Adonai, Adonai, Naria L'Turgishenu, come let us sing joyously to Adonai. Raise a shout for our rock and deliverer. Let us come into God's presence with praise. Let us raise a shout for God in song. For Adonai is a great God, the great ruler of all divine beings. Together, in God's hands, in the depths of all the earth, the peaks of the mountains are God's. God's is the sea, God made it, and the land which God's hands fashioned. Come, let us bow down and kneel, bend the knee before Adonai our Maker. For Adonai is our God, and we are the people God tends, the flock of God's care. Oh, if you would but heed God's charge this day. L'chadodi, page 20, verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. L'chadodi li'krakala, b'nei Shabbat mikabela, l'chadodi li'krakala, b'nei Shabbat mikabela, l'chadodi li'krakala, b'nei Shabbat mikabela, l'chadodi li'krakala, b'nei Shabbat mikabela. Sha'amor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Ishmiyanu el hamed echad, Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, l'shem tirveli la. L'chadodi l'chrakala, v'nei Shabbat mikabela, l'chadodi l'chrakala, v'nei Shabbat mikabela. L'chad Shabbat l'chuven elcha, ki mekor habaracha, mehirosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshav achila. L'chadodi l'chrakala, v'nei Shabbat mikabela, l'chadodi l'chrakala, v'nei Shabbat mikabela. Verse 5. Hit orari, ki va'ore, umi ori, shidaberi, kavod Adonai nifla. L'chadodi l'chrakala, v'nei Shabbat mikabela, l'chadodi l'chrakala, v'nei Shabbat mikabela. Verse 9. But we bid shalom ater ba'ala, gam l'sikol sola, dohem munei amsegula, bo'ichala. L'chadodi l'chrakala, v'nei Shabbat mikabela, l'chadodi l'chrakala, v'nei Shabbat mikabela. one at the top. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Elohim Arabim. 32. Everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Elohim Amo Yisrael. Page 34. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kavod, Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kavod, Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Please be seated. 136. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'kol levavecha v'kol nafshecha v'kol meodecha v'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavacha hayom al levavecha v'shinatam levanecha v'divatam v'shivtecha b'veitecha v'lachlecha b'derech v'shachbecha v'kumecha v'shartam leot ayadecha v'hayu l'totavot beinenecha v'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha v'sharecha l'ma'at tiskaru v'asitem kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim l'elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti echem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem la'im ani Adonai Elohechem. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home, when you are away, when you lie down, and when you get up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand, and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorpost of your house and on your gates. Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments and to be holy to your God. I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God, Adonai Elohechem. Amen. Page 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there, except by joining hands and marching together. Mi kamocha va'elim Adonai, mi kamocha ne'tovako hodesh, no rate'ilo, o seifele, no rate'ilo, o seifele, malchutecha uvanecha, Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and in peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel. Your shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people, Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'perei Sukkot Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Amo Yisrael, Ve'al Yerushalayim. 45. We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat l'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dor tamarit olam b'nei uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam oti le'olam v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat l'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dor tamarit olam ki sheshet yamim asadonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat l'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dor tamarit olam uvayom ha'shvi'i Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat l'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dor tamarit olam. We continue silently on page 47. We stand now for the Amidah. Adonai sefatai tiftam uviya itehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, let my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu, Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor v'HaMorah, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim v'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, V'Mevin Geulah Livnei Bneihem, L'Ma'an Shemo v'Ahava, Melech v'Zer Mashiach v'Mageh, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, V'Ezrat Avraham. Page 50. You are forever mighty, Adonai. You give life to all. You rain dew upon us. You sustain life through love, giving life to all through great compassion, supporting the fallen, healing the sick, freeing the captive, keeping faith with those who sleep in the dust. Who is like you, source of mighty acts? Who resembles you, a sovereign who takes and gives life, causing deliverance to spring up and faithfully give life to all? Blessed are you, Adonai, who gives life to all. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh Hakol. Page 52. Atah Kadosh, Atah Kadosh, you are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Please be seated. The top of page 55. Together, may these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamikadesh HaShabbat. Middle of 57. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubts, and our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, Shotaka Levadka, V'yirah. 59. When we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that you set in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us? We mortals that you take note of us. You made us little less than divine, adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, Hatoshim Kal Kana Elad. 61. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim this message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. Make contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praise to you, eternal one, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, Mevarech et Amo Yisrael Hashalom. Lo yisogoy el goy cherem, lo yilmidu od milchama. Lo yisogoy el goy cherem, lo yilmidu od milchama. Lo yisogoy el goy cherem, lo yilmidu od milchama. Lo yisogoy el goy cherem, lo yilmidu od milchama. Lo yisogoy el goy cherem, lo yilmidu od milchama. Lo yisogoy el goy cherem, lo yilmidu od milchama. We continue with the silent prayers beginning on page 62. Shalom Limrama, Uyas Shalom Aleinu, V'Yachol Yisrael, V'Imru, Amen. Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, V'Yachol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, V'Yachol Yisrael. 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 We turn ahead in our prayer books now to page 253. And turn our thoughts to those who are ill and those who are recovering. Sam, it's good to see you back here in the pews. I guess that's Sam, isn't it, behind the mask? Are there others whose names you'd like to keep in our prayers this evening?
Ed Cox and Yvonne Cox.
Okay, leave on Cox. Others? Very well then. Bishop Barak, Havatenu, Vivatenu, Rami, Yaakov, Sarah, Galilea. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. May the blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit. And let us say,
Amen.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishabera imotenu, Makor habracha, lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing, with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. And we turn back to page 245, and because it is our monthly children's service, we continue with Seder Kiryat Torah, the service for the reading of the Torah, and my two young helpers are invited to join me down here. Page 245 at the bottom. Happy is the one who finds wisdom, the one who gains understanding, for its value is greater than silver, its yield than fine gold. It is more precious than rubies, no treasure can match it. Please stand. Ashloshah Devarim, Ashloshah Devarim, Ashloshah Devarim, Ha'olam, Ha'olam, Omen. Ashloshah Devarim, Ashloshah Devarim, Ashloshah Devarim, Ha'olam, Ha'olam, Omen. Al HaTorah ve'al Havodah ve'al Gemilut Chasadim. Al HaTorah ve'al Havodah ve'al Gemilut Chasadim. At the bottom of 246 and 247, in this scroll is the secret of our people's life from Sinai until now. Its teaching is love and justice, goodness and hope. On the next page. Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah, Le'amo Yisrael, B'kedushato, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Gadlul Adonai Yati, V'nroma Shemo Yachdav. L'cha Adonai HaGedula, V'haGevura, V'hatiferet, V'hanetzach V'hachod, Ki Kol Bashamayim U'Va'aretz, Ki Kol Bashamayim U'Va'aretz, L'cha Adonai HaMamlacha, V'amit Na'aseh, L'chol Erosh. Please be seated. That will include you. All right. This is the last day of a holiday. Do you remember what holiday it is? Pesach, Passover. Do you remember what the theme and the message is of Passover?
We either just left or on the Okay? Exodus from Egypt and Exodus from slavery, which means,
We're going to the promised land.
right, but before we get there, because it could take a while, there was a man driving and they didn't have GPS at the time. So it took them 40 years. Refused. Anyway,
Well,
but Exodus from slavery means that we are celebrating a festival of freedom. This holiday is all about freedom. You need to remember that, okay? It's all about freedom. There's also a component of memory involved, but we'll talk about that after I read some verses here, and then we'll have a little chat, okay? All right. To those of you at home, my fans and supporters have seen fit to give me this great new little gift. Okay. Next on the list, new hips and whatever you got. But all right, guys, come here and have a look at this. You can see. You see how the writing here is all very different from what's above and below? Okay, that means something special is going on here in the Torah. Basically, it's a poem or a song. In Hebrew, the same word is used for poem or song, zemer or shir. And I'll read a little bit of it, and you listen carefully because some of it will be familiar to you. This is the song that they sing. They've crossed through the Sea of Reeds, the parted waters, and they're safe on the other side, on the other shore, and the waters have swept around the Egyptian chariots and engulfed them. Can you see it from there as well? Mm-hmm. Wow. Can you folks see it from there? This is a cool device. All right. Thank your dad. All right. So the women all gather and they start singing this song. Miriam leads them in song, but it starts off, we'll just read a couple of lines here. Az yashir Moshe uvenei Yisrael et hashira hazot ladonai v'yomru lemor ashira ladonai ki ge'a ge'a sos v'rachbo rama bayam. And now we're going to skip down a little bit here. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nador ba'kodesh, norati lo ose fele. Sound familiar? It's the mi kamocha. Yeah, it's the mi kamocha. Yeah. This is great. This is so cool.
I've got it on the screen.
Did you?
The people at home can see,
Wow.
can see it.
No, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Who needs a pointer?
Here, let me try this.
No, no, I don't know.
We're going to make the closing blessing, and then we'll talk a bit.
It's like my sister's
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah temet b'chayei olam nata b'tefenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Please stand. Vezod haTorah, vezod haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei b'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai, al pi Adonai. Al pi Adonai, al pi Adonai, beyad Moshe. Close it up, fellas.
I took a little bit. I got it all, Isaac. No, you don't. That's not blind me, Alright. That will probably blind me if you do that.
Well, you can blame your father. Maybe this new toy.
You always have to mess with it in my eyes.
Eitz chayim hi, lema chazikim ba, v'tomechecha me'ushar, derachecha, darfei noam, v'chol netivotecha, shalom, ashivenu Adonai, elecha v'nashuva, Kadesh, Kadesh Yameinu, Kadesh Yameinu, Tekeh. let's just talk for a couple of minutes here. As I said, on Passover, we remember the Exodus. First of all, we remember the slavery. That's one reason we have the Seder, is to remember what it was to be a slave. And we also remember the freedom that came afterwards. And it's not an understatement to say Jews have long memories. All right? It's not an overstatement to say Jews have long memories. Jewish people, Judaism, really value memory. And in fact, on the last day of Passover and the other festivals, there's a special service called Yizkor, which has to do with remembrance. We have a Yizkor service on Yom Kippur. Who or what are we remembering at a Yizkor service?
We're remembering what that holiday resembles.
Wrong. Mm-mm. We are remembering people who passed away, our loved ones who have passed away. You remember in one of those early readings early in the service, I paused for a moment and said we'll talk about this in a minute, where it talks about the numerous generations that built this place and other places like this, and that built this tradition. That's whom we're remembering on Yizkor. We're remembering our loved ones who are no longer with us. Okay, but as long as we remember them and don't forget them, in a way they are still with us. Okay, now, look around. Have you ever noticed anything on these back walls?
Mm-hmm. It's the in memoriam things.
Well, that's what one of them says. How many do we have back there?
God, it was 6.
6. Okay, have you ever wondered about those?
Yes.
There's the oldest ones, are on the very ends, where it says, I say, in memoriam. And then there are some big ones kind of at a right angle to that. And then closest to the doors are some new ones that have been added over the years. The number of plaques and names on there gives you an idea of how old this congregation is. Okay? Because when people pass away, usually their loved ones arrange to have a plaque put up with the dates. Well, certainly their date of death and very often the date of birth as well. You might want to go run up and have a closer look at them.
Really?
Yeah. The ones with the light on are the ones whose yard site or the anniversary of their death occurs right around this time.
Oh, well, this guy died 40 years before we were born.
40 years before you were born. See how long our memories are.
And
All right. And if you look at the ones that say in memoriam, the big marble ones, those dates probably go back even further.
yeah, so it goes back to all the way back to October 18th of 1899.
To where?
1899.
1899. Wow.
Look, March 1st, 18.
What's the name say?
It says Samuel Rosenwald.
Daniel Rosenwald?
Samuel.
Samuel Rosenwald. Is that one of the ones with the lights on?
Well, no.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. You know who Samuel Rosenwald was?
Who?
His son Julius was the person who founded Sears Roebuck Company.
Wow.
Yeah. Although Sears might have gone bankrupt before you were born, I'm not sure. But anyway. Very important family. They lived right across the street from Abraham Lincoln's home. Now,
And the guy whose light is on, who's born years before us, his last name has Isaac in it.
now, if you run over to this one,
This one goes down to the bottom.
now, the first one with the light on, okay, that one doesn't have individual lights. It has one light for every plaque. But what's the name of the one with the lights on either side?
There's Dorothy T. Freeman.
Uh-huh. No, that's all we need. Now come on down. Come on down. Now, I don't know if you're probably too young to remember Dorothy Friedman, but I think probably almost everybody here remembers Dorothy Friedman. Yeah, she would plot if she knew that I was singling her out for special attention tonight. But it's people like Dorothy Friedman who inspire us to remember. Dorothy was a pillar around here. She was a most wonderful woman. She was always beautifully kept. Her hair was always beautiful. She ran the gift shop for many, many years. And she was like a substitute grandma for a lot of children who grew up here. I know that my children, my two sons, whenever they were here at Temple and she was out running the gift shop, she'd give them free stuff. I don't know how the Sisterhood gift shop ever made money in those years when Dorothy was running it. But she was wonderful. She sat on all kinds of boards, was very active both at the Temple and in the Federation community. The white Torah covers that we use on the High Holy Days were a gift of hers to the Temple. Dorothy was a most marvelous woman. She never married, never had children of her own, which is, I think, why she loved children so much and spoiled all of them. As I say, she spoiled my two kids horribly. As I say, a lot of people remember Dorothy with great love and affection. And that's also the power of memory. It helps stir our emotions somewhat. Now, I don't know, anybody here this evening have a plaque on the wall for somebody? Just
We do not.
offhand?
We don't.
No? Okay. Because a lot of people, it depends on where you grew up. My mother just passed away, and I've arranged for a plaque for her, but it's going to be in the temple where she attended in Houston and where I grew up. So usually the people put up plaques. It depends on where they put them up, where they've lived or where their parents or whoever it is lived. I noticed when I was setting up the lights today, there's another one, another individual whose yard site we're observing tonight is Sidney Stone. Now, Sidney was from New York, and his children, Steve and Lisa, were both from New York. But Steve and Lisa have been really, really very active here in the temple for many, many years. And when Sidney moved down, retired down here to be closer to them, they put up a plaque in his memory. He was also a wonderful guy, a terrific guy. So, do you have any plaques up there? I can't remember. Sam, do you?
I don't.
No? Okay.
I am remiss.
Huh.
I've been meaning to.
No, I thought anyway, it doesn't matter. We got plenty of space. So, anyway, that's what I wanted to talk to you all about this evening, because tomorrow is a Yizkor. It's a day for remembering. Every week we remember people, and every year we remember things that happened in our community and in our history. And like I say, that prayer is wonderful. It says, in these walls we are surrounded by numberless generations. And those are some of those generations. All right, you have a good Shabbos. Come on up and let's do some Kiddush.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Is it right here?
We'll be on pages 4 and 5. Thank you, sir. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzav banu. B'shabbat kodesh v'ahava u'ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh Bereshit. Ki hu yom tefillah l'mikrei kodesh, zeker l'tziat mitzrayim. Kivanu v'charta, yatanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim. Now, if memory serves me, somebody had a birthday either at the end of March or beginning of April. I was gonna say, if he did, you probably did.
It's the other way around. Yeah.
Only
he
one
did
race.
not.
Okay,
Because I'm old.
okay. Bless you. Keep her up, I don't know, he's wrapped on my Lord, bless you, keep you. You wear out enough on the left, keep your hand out, the Lord bless his face to shine down upon you, be gracious to you. You saw it enough on the left, always sing with my shalom. The Lord lift up his countenance and give you peace. Amen. Mazel tov, congratulations. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Shehechianu, v'kiyamanu, v'higianu, v'azman haseh. Page 283. Let us adore the ever-living God and render praise unto you, who spreads out the heavens and established the earth, whose glory is revealed in the heavens above, and whose greatness is manifest throughout the world. You are our God, there is none else. V'anachnu korim, u'mishtabachim l'Elohim, l'ifnei melech, malkei hamelachim, hakadosh baruch hu. V'ne'emar b'chaya Adonai, l'melech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. Please be seated.
Again. He always has.
Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the markers of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. Please take a few moments to enjoy the meditations beginning on page 288. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we've drawn into our hearts with our own. As the name of your loved one is called out, you're invited to stand if you wish, and when all names have been read out, we will stand together for Kaddish. On this Shabbat, our hearts go out to the families of Daniel Carlin, Beryl Arjmont, John O. Spence, Arnold Stern, Greg Osing, Lee Routman, Marilyn Woods Allen, Stanley Oberman, William Wald, Irish Scholes, Sandra Indies, Roz Zimmerman, Sylvia Falk, Ruth Datz, Sophie Pollock, Sarah Myers, and Natalie Yaffe, taken from us over the course of this past year. And from across the years, we recall the names of Nina Becker, Boris Brodsky, Evelyn Easton, Charles Fengold, Dorothy Friedman, Al Gardner, Phil Gahn, Leah Friend Hertzberg, Solomon Hess, Benjamin P. Isaacson, Sadie M. Kellner, Wilbur Kessler, Beverly McElroy, Rose Newman, Bella Rimsey, Samuel A. Reisman, Rebecca Adise Roberts, David Robinson, Louis Salzenstein, Harold J. Schwartz, Pearl Berman Sagan, Beatrice S. Siegel, Sylvia Stern, C. Sidney Stone, William Weinberg, L. Stephen West, Ellie Youngman, and Hanina Zinder, the arts out of whose passing takes place at this season of the year. say, Vihadar, Vihaleh, Vihalal, Shemei, Kudusha, Barihu, Leilam, Min Kol, Birchata, Bashirata, Tush Bechata, Benechemata, Damiram, Yulamah, Binu, Amen. Yehei, Shlam, Rabba, Ben Shemayim, Chaim, Aleinu, Be'al Yisrael, Bimru, Amen. Oseh Shalom, Bimru, Uyah, Oseh Shalom, Aleinu, Be'al Yisrael, Bimru, Amen. May the source of peace send peace to those who mourn, and comfort all who are bereaved among us, as together we say, Amen. Please be seated. Very special service next Friday evening at the 5:30 service time. Two gentlemen of this congregation will be celebrating or having their bar mitzvahs. Mr. Mark Raven and his son, one of his sons, Robert. And then also, let's see, next Sunday, Sisterhood has a particularly interesting guest, Carolyn Blackwell, who'll be talking about the Rosenwald School that she attended when she was growing up. And then, let's see, the week after that, Hadassah Donor is happening, and we'll be heading towards the end of the month. Any other events? I know there are a lot of Zoom things on the Federation calendar, but this is what's going on here at the temple right now. And our closing song, page 362. In the Hebrew, it's called Madir Hu, but they don't have the Hebrew version. What they do have is the English translation, God of Might, to go with the Passover melody. God of might, God of right, thee we give all glory, thine all praise in these days, as in ages hoary. When we hear, year by year, freedom's wondrous story, now as erst, when thou first made the proclamation, warning loud every proud, every tyrant nation, we thy fame still proclaim, bowed in adoration. Be with all who in thrall to their task are driven, by thy power speed the hour when their chains are riven.